Hey, welcome to Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'm Lee, and in this video we'll be taking a look at the free rules for Warcry. This time it's for the Agents of Chaos. So here we go, we've had order, destruction, death, now it's time for chaos, and in this video we'll go through the article that was released yesterday on the Warhammer community site. We'll look at the reactions, some of the little snippets they've included in that, and then we'll have a look at the PDFs as well. There's 4 to download now, a huge amount to go through, so this video will be an overview, and thanks so much for watching the overviews of the other videos. And after I've done this, I'll be breaking down each of the different grand alliances and having a look at all the warbands and seeing what's changed, then doing a deep dive for each of them so that we can revisit all those deep dive videos I've done in the past. I think it'll be great fun to bring it up to date and get everything in line now on the channel for Warcry 2.0. Before we get started on the topic for this video though, I want to just put an idea your way and see what you think of it, and also say thank you to this month's sponsor, who are Excellent Minis. As part of their monthly sponsorship, they've sponsored this video, and they also sent me a load of miniatures out, which I featured in a video last week looking at their 6, 10 and 15mm miniatures. In that video, I painted up a load of the Seraphons here, and now I've got an idea to try out Warcry on a small scale. Let's see if we can play Warcry at the 10mm scale. I think that'd be fantastic, and they sent me loads of models. You can see the huge tiny hall here in the picture. Included in the haul was this awesome model, a 10mm double-headed dragon, which we could use as a monster in Warcry, and loads of other characters. So I thought about putting a couple of warbands together and trying out a game of 10mm Warcry. If you like that idea and that's something you'd like me to try out, please let me know in the comments section below. It'd be awesome to hear your feedback. Also check out that video I did for Tiny Warhammer, and I'll put a link in the description for that, and also for the website for Excellent Minis, so you can go and check out the huge range they do. They've got some awesome models there, and then you can build armies in different scales from 6mm, 10mm and 15mm. Okay, now let's get back to the Agents of Chaos, and I'm really excited. This is the one I've been looking forward to. We had Destruction already for my Gloomspite Gits, but my favourite to play are the Corvus Cabal. I also love the Untamed Beasts, so really happy to see them featuring in the article today. So let's get started having a look at all the information that was released. The article gives us another great picture. We've had some really nice photographs for Warcry over these past few weeks with the new article, so really nice to see it getting totally updated now, really exciting. And one of the reactions they've showed us today for Chaos, they chose the Untamed Beasts, so I was really excited about that. And this reaction is called Brute Resilience, and here a fighter can make this reaction when they are targeted by a melee attack action, but before the hit rolls are made. Subtract 1 from the damage points allocated to this fighter by each hit from that attack action to a minimum of 1. So that's really nice. You can really reduce those damage points now coming from the enemy. So I'm liking that. And it's certainly going to help fighters like the Heart Eater, who you want to keep in the game as long as possible. Now he's seen some changes here. You can see on the top, we've got the new fighter card for the Heart Eater with that Heart of Gur image in the background, really nice. And this has been updated from 180 points to 200. All the rune marks and characteristics have stayed the same, except for the number of attacks and the strength. Now this is really cool. It's gone from 4 to 5, both in strength and the attack characteristics. So this is awesome. I love rolling 5 dice. I don't know why, but in Warcry it's so cool to be making 5 attacks and taking that strength up to 5. I'm really happy. I'm really happy to accept that 20-point increase to get that. But where we lose 20 points, we can get them back with a Beast Speaker. And there's a good chance if you're playing the Untamed Beast, you're going to be including both of these models. So it hasn't changed points value if you just count those two. We'll have to look at the rest later on. And again, I'm going to be doing videos later covering all the warbands and seeing what the changes have been. Now for the Beast Speaker, it's 20 points less. The characteristic rune marks have stayed the same, except for their long flail weapon. This has now gone from a range 4 to a range 3. So they haven't got as much of a range, but look at the damage. That damage has gone up a little bit. It's going to be 1 on a normal hit and 3 on a critical hit. So that's okay. I mean, the range I'm not so bothered about with this one. You want to get quite close anyway, and so 3 inches is good and certainly well worth it to get that extra 1 damage on a critical hit. As we work down the article, we've got the 4 PDFs. Now, there's loads of information to go through, loads of warbands and loads of fighters, so really cool. And we're going to be breaking this up into Chaos 1, 2 and 3, and then warbands of the 8 points, much like we saw in the different Grand Alliance books before. So the warbands of the 8 points were at the back, and so they are here. Now, again, there's no mention of the Underworlds ones, and the article doesn't even talk about it. It doesn't say there's going to be any more PDFs coming out this week. So this could be the end of those Underworlds warbands, which is a huge shame. But I think it's not going to be difficult to update them. Even just use the rules you've got for them in the past, or proxy them from some of the cards that exist already for the warbands that have been updated. And I think for my Patreon community, I'll be doing loads with this. I'll be bringing those Underworld warbands up to date each month as a monthly perk. Okay, so we've seen the article now. Let's have a look at PDF number 1. So this is Agents of Chaos, and this is going to start us off with a nice introduction and all the Chaos faction rune marks, and it breaks it down into all the warbands here. So this includes all the ones, the Untamed Beasts, Corvus Cabal, the original 8.1s too. So we've got a nice introduction there. Onto page 2 it continues. And then we're going to get straight into Allies of Chaos. So brilliant to see we've still got the awesome Fomoroid Crusher and the Ogroid Myrmidon. Brilliant that they're still included. They've got reactions too, which is really nice. And I'm going to be going into this in depth in future videos where I break down allies, thralls, monsters and each warband. We got the Mind Stealer Sphinx as well. Brilliant to see that is included and updated. And then we've got our Monsters of Chaos. So we've got the Chimera, the Slaughter Brute. Who else we got here? The Chaos Gargant, the Gorgon, which is an awesome model. You've also got the Cygor, the variation of that model. Oh, let's go back. And then the Mutalith Vortex Beast. So all these updated. Now you can see here, these haven't got the reactions included here and here. But as we go back, let's see if they've got a standard reaction. Now that's interesting. There isn't going to be a reaction here for these monsters. So maybe there's going to be something coming out later on. The allies have got the reaction, but the monsters haven't. So bit of a shame there. We're not seeing a reaction for our monsters in Chaos. Maybe there'll be some kind of update. Here we've got the Hell Pit Abominations. There's quite a lot of monsters that you can play in this. Then we're on to the Thralls. The Thralls do come with a reaction though, the Master's Voice. So that's going to be interesting to dive into. And then we've got the Fury, Chaos Warhounds, Raptorix, Chaos Spawn, and the Razor Gore. So we've got all those going on. So great to see those are all continuing. Now we're on to the warbands. So we're going to go in alphabetical order. And I'm just go through this quick because again, I'm going to be focusing on each of these in particular when I do their separate video. So we'll have the different abilities for the fighters, and now they've named this hero abilities as we covered in the future videos. We've got a reaction here that they can all use, so that's nice. Brute Resilience. And then we're going to see all the different fighter cards now, and so much to go through and compare and see what's changed. Be interesting to see how much they change the mystics, because they've all been very similar. It looks like it's about the same, but yeah, I'll have a good look at that and do a comparison. But it'd be nice if they mix that up a little bit, because I would like to see a bit of a difference between the mystics across the warbands. They're very samey. So we've got loads of models. It looks like that's the end of PDF 1. So we're down to page 14, and we've just got ourselves up to and included the Beasts of Chaos there. So that's the first PDF. Let's look at PDF number 2 next. And here's PDF number 2 open, and we're starting off with Blades of Khorne, and these are for the demons. Now there's only one column for their abilities, and the leader or hero ability is here. So they haven't got an awful lot of abilities, not much to choose from. They do get a reaction though called Khorne's Due, and then you've got the 8 different fighters to choose from, 4 of those of which are leaders, and then 4 regular fighters. Then you've got Blades of Khorne, Bloodbound. They've also got Khorne's Due as their reaction, so that's going to be the same one, but they do have the regular columns, one for the fighter abilities, one for the hero leader abilities, and then we're going to see all the fighter cards then coming after that. Loads, so much to go through. It's going to be really fun breaking all this down, can't wait. having a massive shake-up like this is really interesting and a refresh to the game. Didn't even really need it in some respects, but I think they've done a great job with reactions. I think that's a really smart way to go. But here we are. So we've got the Disciples of Tzeentch now, the demons, and so they've got a Twist of Fate reaction. And then we'll go through, they've got their 12 different fighters to choose from. And I've been using these as my Mark of Tzeentch for a lot of these models, for my Mark of Tzeentch for my Chaos Space Marines 40k army. And it's great to see these models. I'm going to build a little Warcry warband as well now. I've got some of them. So yeah, be playing these. I never thought I'd play Tzeentch, but since getting the models, I've really liked them. So it's funny, sometimes you see something, you think you'll hate it, and you actually get it, and then you really like it. So yeah, I'll be bringing those into Warcry soon. We got the Disciples of Tzeentch with the Arcanites. They've got the Twist of Fate. Let's go back. Yeah, so it looks like the reaction's going to be the same for the demons and for the Arcanites. Then we've got the fighter cards. They've got quite a few to choose from. Let's get that going. Nice. I think it's good when you can cross over and get some models that play in both Age of Sigmar and 40k. So obviously, if you play both games, it's great. Yeah, so I think it's really good to get the most out of your models. Now we're on to Maggotkin of Nurgle. Now this is something I haven't really invested in for Warcry. I should really get some of these because I love this Spoil Pox Scrivener. I think it's a fantastic model. But they've got the reaction Impossible to Wound. So that's going to be really fitting for the narrative. And then here we've got the different fighter cards for them. We've got the Maggotkin of Nurgle Rotbringers. Again, they're going to get the same reaction, so it's not a different one. And the final slide or page for this PDF are the fighter cards for them. So that's Chaos number 2. Now let's go and have a look at number 3. And here it is. Hedonites of Slaanesh, the demons. They've got Shared Pain as their reaction. This Inferno and Rapturous is just a grim but awesome model, playing on the harp there of that guy's back and all his veins or whatever coming out. Pretty gross, but cool. And then here we've got their fighter cards. Again, lots to compare, see what the changes have been. We've got Shared Pain for the Sybarites as well. And then their fighter cards. Let me know in the comment section below what your warband is as well. I'd love to hear which one you've got and what you're excited about seeing the changes for. Here we go. There's the rest of those. So quite a lot of models there. Now we're on to the Skaven, the Musk of Fear. Just one reaction. I'm liking some of the warbands had 2, but it looks like Chaos is pretty much just getting 1. And then we've got the first set of fighters, the second, third, so many here. I mean, what's that, 36 altogether for the Skaven? And then we've got 4 more pages to look at for this PDF. And so next up, we've got Slaves to Darkness. They've got Boon of Fortitude for their reaction. And then I wonder how many of these have gone up or down. Oh, this guy's great. The Lord on Carcadrak. I've got that model. Fantastic. Such a cool model. And then here, some more of the fighters. And finally, another 12. So yeah, lots to go through. Each one's going to be brilliant in its own video, breaking that down and going through the changes. So now let's go and have a look at the 4th one. The one I'm most excited about. The Corvus Cabal, the Untamed Beasts are going to be included in it for the 8 points. Here we are. So PDF number 4. These are the warbands of the 8 points, starting off with the Iron Golem, who are just going to get that one set of abilities with the leader rune mark here. Their reaction is Clashing Iron. I'm going to read this one. A fighter can make this reaction after they are targeted by a melee attack action, but before the hit rolls are made. Count up to 2 critical hits from that attack action as hits instead. So it's reducing the critical hits. So that's making them just that bit tougher. And then we got their fighter cards there. I'm probably going to start the videos going with these main 8-point warbands because I think they're my favourite, most iconic for warbands. So I'll do these videos first and then start working my way through the others. Probably going with Chaos first as well. Carry on with that book. Or maybe flicking between one alliance at a time. Let me know. And again, I might do a vote, see which is your favourite, and then do that one. So here's the Untamed Beasts, the one I'm looking forward to seeing. We've seen their reaction already. And then we've got the different changes to the points there. So I'll have to go through and check. It's looking like a lot of it hasn't changed, only those 2. It may only be a couple of changes, but again, I'll have to go in and do a direct comparison. The Corvus Cabal, my ultimate warband, my favourite, they've got a Raptor Strike as their reaction, and a fighter can make this reaction after an enemy fighter finishes a move action visible to this fighter within 5 inch horizontally and vertically lower than this fighter. This fighter makes a bonus move action and must finish closer to the enemy fighter than they were at the start of that move action. If this fighter ends that move within 1 inch of the enemy fighter, this fighter does not suffer impact damage, and that enemy fighter suffers impact damage instead. So I guess they land on them, that's the idea. So that's okay. So this is really building into the movement, especially with the Shrike Talon. Getting them on the high ground, descending down onto the enemy. Now you're not going to have to take that damage, but the enemy can instead. So I really like that. So yeah, this is nice. Going to be interesting to try that out. And I'll be playing them very soon. As soon as I get the rulebook and the updates, I think these will be one of my first games for sure. And then I'm going to go through the points as well, have a really good look at that, see what's changed. Only 6 fighters though, won't take long. Then we've got Cypher Lords with Unexpected Assault as their reaction. And so this is going to, looks like it's focusing on the rune mark for the Mystic here, and also for the Cypher Lords. So there we go. So they're all going to have the Cypher Lords rune mark, but they've got to have that Mystic too. So that's going to be something that only certain fighters can use. Yeah, so there's only going to be a couple of them can use that one. Then we've got the Unmade. They've got Shared Pain, which we've seen already, I believe, earlier on. And then we've got the fighter cards. Then we're on to Splintered Fang with Vicious Riposte. That sounds familiar. That's from one of the Pit Fighter ones, I think. That sounds very similar. And then the different fighter cards. Scions of the Flame get Blaze of Fury for their reaction. Let's load up the cards. So we're getting near the end now. So again, got to go through, check all these changes. Spire Tyrants, Gladiatorial, Display. Oh, this one says allocate 4 damage points. Let's read this one. A fighter can make this reaction after they are targeted by a melee attack action, but before the hit rolls are made. If none of the hit rolls from that attack action result in a critical hit, allocate 4 damage points to the attacking fighter. We saw that in a previous video, didn't we? I think it was 5 damage points though. So very similar. That's going to be similar to that. So there's a few repeated ones, just giving them different names. So that's a bit of a shame. I think this could easily have given them something different each. And here we go. Indistinctive Dodge. That critical hit becomes a hit instead, but a different way of getting it. Now it's on a roll of 4+, so quite similar. There's the Dark Oath Savages to choose from. And then finally we've got the Tarantulas Brood, Defensive Blades, and then the 7 fighter cards to look at. So there we go. That's the 4 PDFs. No Underworlds. Really sad that that's happened, but at least it gives me lots to do for my Patreon community. So there we go, there's all the free rules for Chaos, and now we've gone through all 4 of the Grand Alliances. What a great week, getting all these free updates, and now the work really begins as I go through and look at each warband in focus. I can't wait to get hold of my box of Heart of Ghur, and if you haven't got yours yet, I'll put a link down below to Firestorm Games, where you can save up to 20% on all your hobby products and Heart of Ghur, and a bonus too. If you order from them before the 31st of August, you'll also save an additional 5% on the usual up to 20%, so some big savings to be made there. And you'll also support the channel as I get a small commission from every sale made through that link. A huge thanks again to Excellent Minis for sponsoring this video, and don't forget to let me know if you'd like to see a 10mm version of Warcry. Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did like it, please hit the like button, subscribe for more videos like this one, and don't forget to hit that notification bell to join me next time on Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'd like to say a huge thank you to my Patreon supporters who make these daily videos possible, and if you're interested in joining the community, it'd be awesome to see you there, and I'll put a link for that in the description down below.